Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take, a whole stack of articles, research our own notes, and we really distill it all down into the most important nuggets of knowledge.
All designed to give you that shortcut to being truly well-informed.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into something I know resonates with quite a few of you listening. It's that quiet daydream, isn't it? Escaping the relentless city grind, maybe reconnecting with nature a bit.
Finding a simpler way of life, perhaps.
Precisely. And considering maybe, just maybe, a move abroad. But we're not just talking any move today. We're focusing on the surprisingly accessible reality of buying property in Bulgaria, specifically if you're based in the UK.
Ah, yes. It's a perception that's really deeply ingrained, isn't it? That buying property overseas is just incredibly complex. Overwhelming.
Yeah, riddled with hidden costs, weird legal hurdles.
A maze of bureaucracy, basically. Most
Yeah.
people just think, oh, it's too difficult or way too expensive.
Or just too much hassle to even seriously think about.
Exactly. They just dismiss it.
And that's precisely why the steep dive is, I think, so compelling. Our mission today is to give you a really comprehensive step-by-step understanding of this very specific process, because honestly, it's often misunderstood.
It really is.
And here's the really fascinating bit. We're going to shed light on how one listener, Alex, actually managed to buy his home in northern Bulgaria. This was just 2 years ago, and he did it entirely from abroad.
Entirely remotely.
Yeah, he didn't even set foot in Bulgaria until the moment he was actually handed the keys.
Wow. Think about that. Securing a home in another country, sight unseen, until it's officially yours.
It seems almost impossible, right? But we're going to break down that journey step by illuminating step right here.
Indeed. And I think what you'll discover as we explore this is that while that perception is one of, inherent difficulty, the reality, well, if you approach it with the right guidance, the right tools, it's actually remarkably straightforward.
Straightforward, really.
Almost counterintuitive in its ease, yeah. It transforms what often feels like this distant, unattainable dream into something very tangible, a very achievable plan for many people.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's get into it.
All right, let's begin the journey then. When most people think about buying property overseas, their mind usually jumps to the familiar spots, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Spain, France, Portugal. They're the sort of well-trodden paths for British expats.
Exactly, the usual suspects. But here's where the story takes a really interesting turn. Why Bulgaria? Why is this nation, often kind of overlooked in the European property chat, emerging as such a compelling option? It almost feels like Europe's quiet, well-kept secret.
It absolutely is the quiet secret.
Yeah.
And for some very compelling reasons that become pretty obvious once you look past the surface. The first one, and honestly often the most jaw-dropping thing for anyone considering it, is just the unbelievable affordability.
Unbelievable. How unbelievable are we talking? We're not talking, marginal savings. This is a fundamental shift in what's possible with your budget. You can genuinely find structurally sound freehold property so you own the land, the building, outright. No debts against it.
The freehold, okay.
That's important.
Crucial. And often these come with massive gardens. We're talking under 10,000 euros. Under 10,000 euros for a house and land.
Sometimes even significantly less than that, yes.
Okay, that's extraordinary. My first thought is always, what's the catch? Because, for listeners in the UK, getting a whole home, maybe with a big garden, in a village somewhere.
For the price of a decent secondhand car.
Exactly. It just sounds too good to be true. What does structurally sound actually mean at that kind of price? Are we talking ruins?
No, not ruins at all. And it really isn't too good to be true. There isn't some hidden catch beyond the fact these are often older, traditional homes in rural areas. When we say structurally sound, we mean, the foundations are solid, the walls are standing, the roof might need work, maybe even replacement. And the listings are remarkably honest about that, which we'll get to. But it's not falling in.
So they're not derelict shacks.
Not at all. Often, they're robust, historic village homes built properly, just waiting for a bit of modernization. Or sometimes, surprisingly, they're almost ready to move into, maybe just need a lick of paint.
Right.
That comparison really hits home, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
cost of a secondhand car for a village home, it just completely redefines affordable property ownership.
It really does. But it can't just be the price, surely.
Oh, absolutely not. It's not solely about the price tag, compelling as that is. Bulgaria offers immense natural beauty, too, and a lifestyle that, frankly, many people are actively looking for now, an antidote to the urban pressure.
Okay, tell me more about that, the landscape.
It's incredibly diverse. Up in the north, around areas like Targovishte or Ruse, where lots of expats tend to settle, you've got these lovely rolling hills, dense forests, big rivers like the Danube. Further south, you hit the Balkan Mountains. Stunning views, great for hiking, skiing even. You find ancient monasteries tucked away.
Sounds beautiful. What about the seasons?
Proper seasons. Summers are properly sunny and warm, perfect for being outdoors. Winters bring picturesque snow, especially in the mountains. You get the full four-season experience. It's a place where you can genuinely connect with nature, whether that's, growing your own veg, hiking, or just enjoying the peace and quiet.
So it's not just cheap, it's genuinely beautiful, a real connection to nature. What about the culture, the lifestyle there?
Well, Bulgaria has this rich, deep cultural heritage. You've got influences from Thracian times, Roman, Ottoman, Orthodox traditions. It's all mixed in there.
So that translates to...
Vibrant local customs, really delicious, hearty food, and a strong sense of community, especially in the villages.
And the pace of life. That's often a big draw for people moving.
Absolutely. There's a profoundly slower, more deliberate pace of life, particularly out in the countryside. For those of us from the UK or other fast-paced places, it often feels quite nostalgic, actually.
Nostalgic? How so?
It reminds me of how rural Britain maybe felt decades ago. Communities were tighter, people left their doors unlocked sometimes, life revolved more around the seasons, simple pleasures.
I can picture that.
It's very grounding. Neighbors genuinely know each other, help each other out. The day's rhythm is set by the sun, not the clock. Imagine just strolling to the local market, chatting, buying fresh veg direct from the farmer. That's the everyday reality for many.
That's a really powerful image, especially for UK listeners.
Okay, moving from the idyllic to the practical, though. Infrastructure. Many people hear rural and affordable and think, okay, must be stuck in the past. Dial-up internet, dodgy power.
That's a very common and understandable concern. But the answer, for many, is that it's surprisingly modern in key ways, especially considering the property prices.
Modern how?
Well, it's an EU member, right? So it benefits from EU-level infrastructure funding and development in most places. And critically, for anyone needing to work remotely or just stay connected, fiber internet is increasingly common, not just in towns, but often reaching into villages too. It's reliable. Fiber internet, even in villages, that's impressive.
It is. You can easily do video calls, stream, run online businesses, no problem.
And things like healthcare.
Medical care, while obviously different from the NHS, is both affordable and competent. You've got modern hospitals in the bigger towns, accessible local clinics. It's a big relief for people relocating. And then there's the general cost of living, which our sources literally describe as laughably low.
Laughably low. Give me examples.
Groceries are incredibly cheap. Fresh produce, meat, dairy, a fraction of Western prices. Utilities like electricity, water, far more affordable. Even eating out, getting a haircut, car repairs.
Yeah.
It just doesn't break the bank. You can live comfortably on a much smaller budget.
Okay, so let's recap. Extraordinary affordability, real natural beauty, slower lifestyle, surprisingly modern infrastructure. That's a potent mix. But one crucial concern always comes up when moving to a new country, especially one less familiar. Safety. What's the reality there?
A perfectly valid concern. And the reassurance here is that Bulgaria is remarkably safe, particularly in the countryside. Village communities are often very tight-knit. There's a strong sense of looking out for each other, collective responsibility.
Lower crime rates than the UK.
Significantly lower than many urban centers globally, and certainly lower than many parts of Western Europe, yes. To paint a picture, if you're living in a typical Bulgarian village, the loudest thing you'll hear at night is literally crickets. Maybe a distant dog barking.
Those are crickets.
It speaks volumes about the peace, the quiet, the serenity people are often searching for when they dream of escaping the hustle. It's a place you can genuinely feel secure.
That paints a really compelling picture, less like a hidden gem, maybe more like an open secret just waiting. But okay, for someone sitting here in the UK, thousands of miles away, how do you even start finding these places? That's usually where it gets complicated, right?
Exactly. And this brings us to a really crucial tool in this whole process, bg.house.
Right. bg.house. Let's unpack this. What exactly is it? Is it just another property website, like a Bulgarian Rightmove or Zoopla?
That's a good question because, at first glance, it might look like just another listing site. But bg.house is fundamentally different because of its unique approach, its specialization.
Specialization.
Think of it like Rightmove, yes, but with a laser focus purely on rural Bulgarian properties. That focus is key. It's not just a vast, unfiltered dump of everything. It's a carefully curated
It's
platform,
curated.
meaning the listings are handpicked, they're verified, it operates in real time so you're seeing current available properties, not stuff that sold months ago. And crucially, it's designed specifically for international buyers.
Ah, okay. So it anticipates the problems we might face.
Precisely. It addresses the challenges people face trying to navigate a foreign market from afar, language barriers, legal stuff, all that.
So there's real thought behind it to make it accessible and trustworthy for someone like me sitting miles away. That
Yeah.
does sound different.
Exactly. And what truly sets bg.house apart is its unmatched transparency and the sheer level of detail in the listings.
Okay, like what kind of detail?
Every single listing has accurate, high-quality photos. And I mean accurate. No weird wide-angle lenses making tiny rooms look huge. No clever lighting hiding damp patches. Honest pictures.
That's refreshing.
Very. They often include professional drone shots, too, which are fantastic. You get a proper bird's-eye view of the whole property, the boundaries, the land around it. Invaluable when you can't just pop over for a viewing.
Dream shots, wow. What else?
You get incredibly detailed written walkthroughs inside and out. Precise, verified info about local amenities in that specific village.
Like, is there a shop? A bus stop?
Exactly. Shop,
Yeah.
post office, public transport, plus exact village location data, map links. There's literally no guesswork. You know exactly what you're looking at, where it is, what's nearby. That level of detail just builds confidence.
It sounds impressive. You also mentioned it's surprisingly honest. What does that look like? Can you give an example of that candor?
Oh, the honesty is stark and, frankly, refreshing. I remember seeing one listing that stated, right there up front, needs full roof replacement.
Really? They just put that out there?
Right there in the description. Now, in most markets, agents try to gloss over big issues like that, don't they?
They absolutely do. Or use vague language.
Exactly. This level of directness is almost unheard of. It really speaks to the core values of trust and integrity that bg.house operates with.
And how can they be so honest? Isn't that counterproductive for selling?
Well, it's possible because the platform is run in direct partnership with Nyama Problemi Ltd, the company we need to talk about next. They're the team on the ground. They physically inspect every single property before it gets listed.
Every single one.
Everyone. So if a listing says needs renovation, they genuinely mean it. There's no Photoshop hiding cracks, no exaggerated square footage. It's all about building trust, especially with international buyers buying sight unseen. That trust is paramount. They want you to know exactly what you're getting into, no nasty surprises.
So it's not just showing properties, it's showing the truth about them. That's a huge relief navigating a foreign market, and the website itself sounds easy to use.
It absolutely is. The simplicity, the clarity of the bg.house site is remarkable. Very user-friendly layout, really intuitive navigation. You can easily click through regions, filter properties, explore the details without getting lost or confused.
And the prices. You mentioned no hidden fees.
Right. A major plus. Prices are listed right there up front in euros, clear as day. No hidden extras popping up later. No opaque pricing. No gimmicks trying to lure you in. You see the real cost.
Okay.
Plus, they give you that crucial reassurance.
Yeah.
All properties are freehold, clear titles. You get full, unencumbered
Just
ownership.
utilities, like water and electric.
In the vast majority of cases, yes, essentials like electricity and water are either already connected or they can be easily restored. That removes another big layer of potential hassle and cost. This whole focus on clarity just lets you browse with genuine confidence. What you see is what you get.
Okay, so bg.house is this excellent, transparent gateway for finding these properties. But it really sounds like the secret sauce here, the real enabler of this whole remote buying thing, is the company behind it, Nyama Problemi Ltd. You called them the unsung heroes. Let's shine a proper light on them. Why do they deserve that title?
They absolutely are the unsung heroes, and honestly, that title barely does them justice. Nyama Problemi Ltd is just so much more than a typical real estate firm, or even just a licensed building and estate management company, although, yes, they are fully registered and qualified for all that.
So what are they then?
What they effectively become for you as the international buyer is your personal, dedicated relocation crew, your kind of on-the-ground concierge service in Bulgaria. Their service offering is genuinely vast. It's meticulously designed to cover every single angle of buying, owning, and even living in Bulgaria, especially when you're doing it from thousands of miles away.
A personal relocation crew. That's a big statement. What does that actually cover? Inspections, video tours, property management, renovations? Sounds like a huge amount for one firm to handle well.
It is a huge amount, yet they manage it with remarkable efficiency. And they have this deep understanding of what expats actually need.
Mm.
So yes, their services start with those initial inspections and detailed video tours we talked about being your eyes and ears, but it goes way beyond the sale. Full property management, if you're not moving in straight away, making sure your place is looked after.
Okay.
They handle all sorts of renovations, which is massive because many buyers want to restore these lovely old character properties.
That makes sense.
Crucially, for UK buyers, they manage the whole company formation process, which we'll explain is a legal necessity for owning land now.
The company thing. Got it.
They provide essential notary representation for all the legal paperwork. They even handle things like postal mail forwarding, so you get important stuff from the authorities or utility companies. It's a truly integrated, start-to-finish solution. They anticipate pretty much every need.
So they really are an all-in-one solution. That phrase gets used a lot. But how does having it all under one roof actually change things for the buyer compared to juggling multiple contacts?
It makes an extraordinary difference. Look, they're not just agents who show you a house and then, wave goodbye after the sale. Think of them as your agent, your translator, your solicitor, your builder, and your property manager all rolled into one efficient English-speaking package.
Okay, I see. Less chance of things falling through the cracks.
Exactly. That unified approach drastically cuts down on miscommunication, delays, and just the sheer mental effort of coordinating multiple unfamiliar professionals in a foreign country. Imagine not having to find a separate lawyer, then an agent, then a builder, then someone to manage it, and trying to get them all talking to each other.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
Instead, it's one single point of contact. Cohesive, efficient, start to finish. And their whole philosophy goes beyond just making a sale. They genuinely operate on the basis that they don't just want to sell you a home. They want you to stay, to thrive, to be happy there.
A long-term view.
Exactly. And that influences everything they offer. It creates this incredibly supportive environment for new expats.
And presumably that includes bridging the language gap? That must be a huge worry for people, especially with legal stuff.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest anxieties, isn't it? That language barrier. Especially when you're facing complex legal documents or dealing with local councils. Nyama Problemi basically eliminates that worry. Their team speaks English fluently, natively. You'll never feel lost or confused.
How does that work in practice?
They meticulously walk you through every single form. They handle appointments with local authorities. They provide accurate translations of everything, contracts, utility bills, you name it. They manage all the crucial communications on your behalf.
So they're literally your voice on the ground.
Totally. To give you an idea of how hands-on they are, they'll even deal with the local mayor if you need to register some chickens for your small holding, or sort out your electricity connection, or fix any other issue that involves navigating local admin. They are genuinely your boots on the ground, handling everything from the mundane to the complex. It lets you focus on the exciting part, not the red tape.
That is an incredible level of support. It really does take away so much of the mystery and, frankly, the stress. Okay, let's shift to the practical steps then. I'm on bg.house. I'm seeing these amazing, affordable places. I'm feeling the pull. What's the actual next step? So I go to bg.house, and then what? How do I actually find and secure something, potentially from thousands of miles away?
Right. This is where the site's design really helps guide you. The first practical step after browsing is to really click into a region that catches your eye. You'll notice areas like Targovishte and Ruse up in the north are pretty-popular with expats. Good reasons for that: affordability, beauty, existing communities. But you can explore anywhere.
Okay, chosen a region.
Then you use the filters. They're really robust. You can narrow things down by your exact criteria. Price range, obviously. Renovation status, are you after move-in ready, or a project?
Land size, too. That seems key for these village properties.
Absolutely. Land size is a big filter. For example, you could filter for places around, say, 12,000 euro with at least 1,500 square meters of land. That's about a third of an acre. And you'll often find several compelling options matching that exactly, all with photos and details ready to view.
That's very specific. Can I get even more granular? What if I want to be near a forest or need a village with a bus stop?
Yep, the advanced search covers that. You can filter by geographical features near a forest, near a lake. Fantastic for tailoring your lifestyle, right?
Definitely.
And beyond nature, you can check for those essential village amenities: public transport, local shops, a post office, reliable internet. It's incredibly detailed. Helps you filter based on practical daily needs.
And each property page has
everything you need visually. The drone view giving you that crucial aerial perspective of the plot and surroundings. Detailed floor plans. Highlights of the local area. Info on nearby towns for bigger shops or services. Plus, clear contact info for Nyama Problemi right there on each page. So you can just fire off an email with questions immediately, even if you're just researching.
Okay, right. So I've searched, filtered, maybe found the one. Looks perfect online. Now comes that big hurdle we mentioned, the psychological one and the practical one. But I can't just fly over right now. Or how can I possibly buy a house I haven't physically stood in? That stalks a lot of people, like Alex initially, I bet.
It's a completely understandable hurdle. And this is exactly where Nyama Problemi's remote viewing and purchase options are, well, pretty revolutionary, actually, and indispensable. They totally get that immediate travel isn't always possible or practical for international buyers.
So what do they do?
If you find a place you love, their team physically goes there for you. They conduct incredibly detailed video walkthroughs, often live, via video call.
Live video call from the property.
Yeah, so you can ask questions in real time as they're literally walking through every room, checking the outbuildings, walking the garden boundaries.
Right.
You can say, can you zoom in on that crack? Or show me the roof tiles up close, or what's the state of the well? They'll show you anything you need via drone shots, close-ups, whatever it takes. It gives you this amazing virtual presence, huge peace of mind. It's almost like being there.
And can you genuinely legally buy without ever visiting? Is that common for UK buyers, or was Alex's story unusual?
No, it's surprisingly common now. A well-established practice, especially for UK buyers post-Brexit. Many clients, just like Alex, buy without setting foot in Bulgaria until they collect the keys.
How is that legally possible? Signing contracts, etc.
Every single aspect, from viewing to signing, can be arranged legally and securely using a power of attorney.
Right, the power of attorney.
It's a standard legal document. It grants Nyama Problemi the authority to act on your behalf, including signing at the notary's office. They handle all the translation needed for every document, and they keep you constantly updated progress reports, photos, video calls, the whole way through.
So you could literally
Finalize the purchase of your Bulgarian home from your sofa, cup of tea in hand. Yes.
That's amazing.
And, as another layer of reassurance, if the house needs repairs or renovations after you buy it, which Nyama Problemi can also manage for you, they send regular progress photos and videos. So you watch the transformation happen from afar.
Truly removes so much stress. Okay, let's tackle the big one. Legalities. Contracts. Foreign law. This is where people expect pitfalls, right?
Absolutely. And it's often the biggest source of anxiety. But again, this is where Nyama Problemi's expertise really makes things smooth. They provide a remarkably clear path through what seems complex.
So for UK citizens post-Brexit, what's the main thing to know, especially about owning land?
Right. There's a specific important rule. As a non-EU citizen now, you cannot directly own land in Bulgaria, unless you're a long-term resident.
Ah, so that's a potential blocker, if I want a house with a garden.
It sounds like it, but no, not at all. There's a crucial, well-established, and very straightforward workaround that Nyama Problemi handles for you.
Okay, which is?
They help you form a Bulgarian Ltd company, a limited company.
I see.
This company then legally owns the land, and you, the buyer, own the company 100%. It's perfectly legal, secure, and widely used by international buyers.
Forming a company sounds complicated and slow, though.
Surprisingly quick and efficient, often done within just 3 to 5 business days. It's a standard procedure they handle all the time.
3 to 5 days? Wow. What do I need to provide?
Very little from your end, actually. Mainly just a scanned copy of your passport, that signed power of attorney document we mentioned, giving them authority to act for you, and some basic personal details for the registration.
And Nyama Problemi handles
absolutely everything else. Tax registration for the company, setting up the company bank account in Bulgaria, dealing with all the filings with the Bulgarian authorities. It's a complete turnkey solution for company setup.
Right. And once this company exists, what are the ongoing costs? Is it expensive to maintain, like a UK company can be?
That's a very fair question, especially thinking about UK costs. But no, in Bulgaria, running this Ltd company is surprisingly low cost. Very manageable. You're typically looking at around €200 to €300 per year. That covers the necessary accountancy services and administrative maintenance, annual tax filings, legal compliance, that sort of thing.
€200, €300 a year. That's it.
That's about it. Much cheaper than UK company upkeep. It makes it a really affordable, sustainable way to own land there, even if you're not actively trading through the company.
Okay, that makes sense. And the actual purchase contracts, are they just in Bulgarian? How do I know what I'm signing?
Another vital point where transparency is key. All contracts related to the purchase are fully bilingual.
Bilingual. English and Bulgarian side by side.
Exactly. Presented meticulously in both languages. And Nyama Problemi's English-speaking team guides you through the wholesale process. They explain every clause, every term, every legal implication. Their absolute commitment is nothing gets signed unless you fully, completely understand it. This focus on clarity just melts away that foreign law anxiety, builds huge trust, lets you proceed with confidence.
This whole process sounds incredibly thorough, almost too smooth compared to the horror stories you sometimes hear about buying abroad. All right, let's distill some key warnings and advice. Let's play a quick game. Do or don't. I'll give you a scenario. You tell me should I do it or definitely don't do it. Ready?
Ready. Let's go. This is important stuff.
Okay, first one. Sending a deposit for a property before I've got a fully translated, verified contract that I understand.
Big don't. A massive don't. Absolutely not. Always, always wait. Wait until the paperwork is bilingual, verified legally, and you understand every single word. Nyama Problemi handles this professionally, ensuring it's all correct. Never feel pressured to send money until you know exactly what you're agreeing to in English. Protects you from scams, misunderstandings.
Got it. Hard don't on early deposits. Okay, next. Do I need to fly over to Bulgaria to kick off the buying process or at any point before I get the keys?
Don't need to. Simple as that. Look, it can be helpful, nice even, if you want to see things in person. But it is entirely optional. Like we've said, with Nyama Problemi's remote process, their team on the ground, you can genuinely manage everything from home through your eyes, ears, hands. Travel is unnecessary until handover unless you want to.
Right. Okay. Scenario 3. Dealing with local officials, understanding legal documents. Do I need to find and hire my own separate translator?
Do need translation, but you don't need to hire one separately. That service is fully included with Nyama Problemi. Their team are fluent English speakers. They handle the calls, the documents, everything. Ensures clear, accurate communication, removes that barrier as part of their all-in-one service.
Okay, good to know it's included. Next. Do I need to really check the zoning regulations for the land that comes with the house?
Absolutely do.
Yep.
Critically important, often overlooked. Some land out there is designated purely as agricultural.
And that means?
It means there are strict building restrictions. You can't just decide to build a new house or sometimes even extend much on agricultural land without changing its designation first. That process can be complex, take time, cost money. Nyama Problemi gets this info for you before you buy and can help change it if needed. But you must know up front. Don't assume you can build freely.
Crucial check. Okay, how about this? Trusting agents or people I find on Facebook or other social media claiming they have amazing exclusive deals.
That's a hard don't. A very, very hard don't. Seriously. The internet, especially social media, is unfortunately full of scammers, misrepresented listings, sometimes even people trying to sell land illegally, land with debts on it, land you can't build on.
Risky then.
Extremely risky. Stick rigorously to verified listings from reputable established sources like bg.house. Platforms backed by companies like Nyama Problemi who've done the checks, have legal standing, inspect the properties. This is not an area to cut corners or trust random online offers. Your whole investment is at stake.
Sound advice. Okay, utilities. Do I need to specifically ask about the electricity and water connections before I commit?
Definitely do. Essential check. Are they connected? Are they active? Many village homes will have connections needing reactivation, which is usually simple, but some older or remote places might need totally new meters. Or if there's maybe needs a new pump or repairs. Knowing the status up front lets you budget properly for any setup costs. Avoids nasty surprises later. Nyama Problemi confirms this, but always ask explicitly.
Makes sense. Are there any other really important dues for due diligence? Things beyond the house itself?
Yes, definitely. A few crucial ones that really contribute to a happy outcome. First, do ask if there's a post office or a local shop in the actual village. Sounds small, but it tells you a lot about how active the community is. Huge impact on daily convenience.
Good point. A sign of life.
Exactly. Second, do find out how close the nearest larger town or hospital is. Access to bigger shops, services, and especially emergency medical care is vital. How long would it take to get help if needed?
Very important.
Third, do check the road access properly. Is it paved all the way? Maintained in winter? Or does it turn into a muddy track?
Yeah.
Big impact on accessibility, especially in bad weather.
Right, don't want to get stuck.
And finally, a critical one. Do make sure Nyama Problemi does a full check for any encumbrances or outstanding taxes on the property.
Encumbrances. Meaning?
Any existing legal claim or debt against it. Like an old mortgage, a lien, a legal dispute.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not want to inherit someone else's financial or legal mess. They handle this check thoroughly, but understand why it's so vital. All these checks add up to a much smoother, more positive experience.
That is an incredibly useful checklist. Really practical stuff. Highlights just how much local knowledge and support you need, which Nyama Problemi clearly offers. So, okay, let's fast forward. You've done it. Company formed, contract signed, keys are in your hand, just like Alex. What now? What happens after the sale? What kind of ongoing support, this aftercare you mentioned, can people expect? Especially if they're not moving straight away or if they are planning a full move.
Right, and this is where Nyama Problemi support really shows its long-term value. It goes way beyond just the transaction. This aftercare makes a huge difference. First, the essentials. They ensure a totally seamless transition for getting your new home up and running. Arranging utility connections, water, electric, internet,
Yeah.
getting you connected without you having to battle the local providers. They streamline all that.
That alone is worth a lot. Takes away a major headache. And what about people making the full move, bringing furniture, pets, the lot from the UK?
They offer really comprehensive relocation assistance. They know the logistical hurdles. They've helped loads of expats move furniture, personal belongings, even pets. Coordinating shipping containers.
Shipping containers. Wow.
Yeah. All the way from the UK. Whether you drive a van yourself or use a carrier, their team coordinates the handover in Bulgaria. Make sure it all arrives safely, clears customs, gets managed efficiently.
And cars, if you bring a car over.
Yep. If you bring a vehicle, they'll help register under your new Bulgarian Ltd company. Another important legal step they smooth out for you. They really do think of everything involved in the move itself.
That sounds incredibly valuable for a big life change like that. But what if it's not a full move? Maybe it's a holiday home or an investment I'll only visit sometimes. How do they support ABS owners?
That's where their property management services for absent owners are just invaluable. If you're not there full-time, they offer regular monthly checks.
Checks for what?
Making sure the property's secure, everything's okay, no leaks, no storm damage, things like that. They handle mail forwarding so you don't miss important letters. They keep the garden tidy, weed trimming, general maintenance. And get this, they'll even harvest your fruit trees if you have them. So the land stays productive and cared for, even when you're not there.
Harvest the fruit trees. That's amazing.
Isn't it? And beyond that, if you decide you want work done installing heating, solar panels, new fences, you can hire them directly. Continuity, quality, peace of mind from a team you already know and trust. They become your local caretaker, basically, protecting your investment.
Fantastic. And lastly, for those making the full jump, becoming permanent residents, what about navigating the residency paperwork? Sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare, especially now.
It can definitely look like a daunting maze. But again, Nyama Problemi is there to guide you through it, step by step. They'll meticulously walk you through getting your long-stay visa, your Bulgarian tax ID number, handling the crucial address registration with the local authorities, all that official stuff.
So they handle the red tape.
They handle the red tape. Whether you're aiming for a part-time retreat or full relocation, setting down roots, they manage the necessary bureaucracy. Their goal is just to make your transition into Bulgarian life as smooth, stress-free, and legally correct as possible. Lets you settle in without getting overwhelmed by admin. #outro.
Honestly, before I started looking into this, I really did think buying property abroad was just this incredibly complex, almost scary process, probably unattainable for most people. But this whole journey, using bg.house, and especially with Nyama Problemi Ltd involved, it just completely demystifies it. It actually seems, well, approachable, achievable.
It is approachable. That's the key takeaway, I think. That perceived complexity just melts away when you have genuine experts on the ground, guiding you transparently with full support. bg.house makes finding the place easy, trustworthy, and Nyama Problemi makes the whole process seamless right through to aftercare, even remotely.
So the recipe for success seems to be clarity, legality, and that deep local expertise and dedicated support. It's not just finding a house, it's finding the right system to help you make the change. So for our listeners who are now maybe feeling that pull, thinking about that simpler, more affordable life in Bulgaria, where should they actually start? What's step one?
The absolute starting point is really straightforward and totally commitment-free. Just go to bg.house. Take your time. Browse. Pick a region that sparks something in you.
Yeah.
Click through the listings, look at the drone shots, the floor plans, read the descriptions, and crucially, don't be afraid to email them. Use the contact form on the listings. Ask questions, even if you're just curious, just exploring possibilities.
Even if you're just researching.
Absolutely. You'll find they respond really quickly, usually within a day, and they're genuinely happy to help you explore things, no pressure at all. It's the perfect first step to making that dream feel a bit more real.
That's great advice. Makes it feel much less daunting. Just take that first step. Have a look. And for all of you who've been daydreaming about a different kind of life, maybe simpler, quieter, more connected, definitely more meaningful, and Bulgaria, as we've heard today, might just be your next really remarkable chapter.
Indeed, it
Yeah.
genuinely offers something different, a real alternative to the pace of modern life, a chance to reconnect with nature, community, a slower rhythm, all at a price point that's just, well, incredibly accessible. And remember that key phrase you'll hear from them, it perfectly sums up their whole approach, Nyama Problemi.
Which means
It means no problem.
Nyama Problemi. I like that. Until next time.